period. The member from Nipissing.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Speaker. My question is for the Finance Minister. Ontario PC leader Patrick Brown was in Scarborough this morning. He was talking to middle-class families. He was telling them about the People's Guarantee, the guarantee that a PC government will cut taxes for the middle class by 22.5% and reduce taxes for first income tax bracket by 10%, giving a break to those who need it most. Mr. Speaker, a PC government will cut taxes and make life more affordable for middle-class families. Why won't this Liberal government?
Mr. Finance.
Mr. Speaker, not one single Ontarian will receive the tax cuts that this member is advocating for or advertising. Even before the election has even started, they're making promises that they can't keep. I would argue, step down now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Minister of Finance. The People's Guarantee offers a reasonable response to years of government mismanagement. Kevin Page, the former parliamentary budget officer, had this to say, quote, "The fiscal estimates underlying the Ontario PC platform have been deemed reasonable by Nonpartisan Institute of Fiscal Studies and Democracy, University of Ottawa." Speaker Kevin Mulligan, professor of economics at the Vancouver School of Economics, says, in my view, quote, "A government with firm attention to cost management can achieve savings in the range proposed in the PC platform." Quote. Speaker, which one of these esteemed, respected Canadian economists does the Liberal government disagree with today?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Minister.
Thank goodness, Mr. Speaker, that Kevin Page was there to keep an eye on these folks and use notes at the end of their glossy magazine to tell the truth. And the truth is, there's $12 billion in cuts under their plan, Mr. Speaker. The truth is, the effective marginal tax rate that they're proposing is not true. It can't happen, Mr. Speaker. And Kevin Page insisted upon that in order to provide his name. I would ask the member opposite, what is it that you're going to cut, and how much is the carbon tax that's triple that of cap and trade is going to cost families on their gas bills, Mr. Speaker?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Start the clock. Final supplementary.
Back to the minister. Speaker, I must say the Liberal spin is embarrassing. John Michael McGrath pointed out the facts. The Liberals are lying about a hidden 12.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. The member will withdraw.
Withdraw.
If it happens again, I'm going to warn the person who chooses to use that language. Final, no, not final supplementary. You're finished? Finished.
Speaker, we will also increase the Ontario sales tax credit by $100 per adult and $100 per child in order to bring real relief to Ontario's low-income residents. That's money back in their pockets, and that's money that will combat the unaffordable policies created by this Liberal government. The people who need it most will get it. Mr. Speaker, does the minister not agree that lower and middle-income families finally deserve a break?
Minister.
All right, let's be clear. Kevin Page illustrated for the rest of the public to acknowledge that the 22.5% that you're proposing is false. It's completely untrue and cannot be achieved for the people of Ontario based on what they've said. Furthermore, the member opposite has just cited our fiscal plan, and he's building his proposals and his assumptions on our fiscal plan, Mr. Speaker. Furthermore, what they've done just does not add up. They're cutting revenues, they're cutting expenses, but they're increasing carbon tax substantively. They cannot be trusted. They're making guarantees that they cannot fulfill. Step down, Mr. Speaker.
You are talking. You are talking to me.
Can I correct my record now?
No. With an honest attempt to try to see if the members themselves could take care of themselves in decorum. One round is finished. You cannot. We are in warnings, and I will use them immediately. So you've had your fun for one round. It's over. Supplementary, new question, the member from Nipissing.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Finance. The Toronto Star editorial headline read that the People's Guarantee, quote, deserves a serious look from voters. That's because it offers real solutions to make life affordable for middle-class families. It deserves a look, Speaker, because the People's Guarantee offers real, much-needed and much-deserved tax cuts, 22.5% for middle-class families. But instead of giving it a serious look, instead of acknowledging this is the path Ontario needs to bring real relief to families, Liberal members choose to repeat nonsense. They know it's nonsense, and I hope they quickly realize, Speaker, how foolish they actually sound. Families deserve a lot better from you. Mr. Speaker, why won't the Liberals support tax cuts to middle-class families?
Thank you. Minister.
Well, let's quote a few other things, Mr. Speaker. Using the numbers presented in that glossy magazine, reaffirmed by Kevin Page as incoherent and, frankly, false, because they're not going to be able to achieve 22% tax cuts. Furthermore, Globe and Mail states this: the problem with the People's Guarantee is that it is a bit too clever, fiscally risky, and economically incoherent, Mr. Speaker. They are not delivering a tax cut to the people of Ontario. In fact, they're going to deliver a net tax increase with the carbon tax that they're providing that is twice as much as what we are incurring today, Mr. Speaker. And the tax cut...
The member from Simcoe Grey is warned.
The question is, what are you cutting? What amounts? What hospitals are you cutting? Are you going to cut pharmacare for people under 25? Are you going to cut tuition for those that are getting it free? Are you cutting health care and education? And the
Stop the clock. The member from Etobicoke North is warned. You have one wrap-up sentence.
Their plan is all about cuts and deficits, Mr. Speaker. This member has fought for balanced budget.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you. Well, I can tell the minister, back to the minister, what we'll be cutting are Liberal MPPs. That's what Steve Paikin, one of the most respected journalists, had this to say about Kevin Page's review. Quote, "One little sentence sets the Progressive Conservative platform apart. Quote, it's a thumbs up from one of the most respected economic analysts in the country. And under the PC plan, middle and lower income families benefit the most. Only our party will put money back in their pockets. That's the money to combat the unaffordable policies created by this government. Money for people who need the help most. Mr. Speaker, why is this government attacking our numbers? Is it because they don't want to bring tax cuts to middle-class families?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is the same party that is not supporting Ontario families. The same party that is rolling back minimum wage. The same party that didn't support our plan to provide for more hospitals and nurses and education. It's the same family that voted against university free tuition, the same family that voted against free tuition and free prescriptions for those under 25. It's the same family the same party that...
The member from Renfrew Nipissing Pembroke is warned.
Kevin Page, in his notes, made it clear that their proposal, their plan, doesn't add up. That they can't be trusted because what they're proposing is a tax that will not be achieved by any Ontarian. They're misleading the province. They should.
The member will withdraw.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Elgin Middlesex London is warned. Finish.
A finance critic should take every precaution to be fiscally prudent and build contingency to their plan. They have none in this plan, and their guarantee will illustrate the fact that they should step down.
Final supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Well, obviously the minister is reading a different book, Speaker, because Kevin Page calls our plan reasonable. That's something he could never call their plan, Speaker. Our People's Guarantee offers a 22.5% tax cut to middle-class families. Our plan offers an increase to the Ontario sales tax credit of $100. Meanwhile, the Liberal government demands higher taxes and higher fees. That's the way it always is, Speaker. They can't afford to pay their Liberal insiders any other way. But we think it's time to put the people first, not the insiders. Mr. Speaker, I ask one more time, why won't this government support tax cuts for middle-class families?
Thank you.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we have taken steps to support middle-class families. That party voted against every one of those very measures, Mr. Speaker, and instead, they're pretending.
I can do this all day because I feel fit. The member from Niagara West Glanbrook is warned. Carry on.
They're pretending to provide tax cuts when, in fact, they're not. In fact, their plan is both a social and fiscal deficit to the province of Ontario. There's no prudence. They're going into deficits. They're putting in assumptions for $12 billion that they're not able to achieve. It's reckless, irresponsible. It puts us in harm's way.
We'll do this.